बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम वसल्लल्लाहु अला नबीयिल करीम रब्बि इश्रह ली सदरी वयस्सिर ली अमरी वहलुल उक़्दतम मिन लिसानी यफ़क़हू क़ौली। The topic for this day is the concept of tafkir in Islam. T-A-F-K-E-E-R. The concept of tafkir in Islam. Word tafkir and also some other words with the same name, with the same meaning, are used in the Quran frequently. For example, tafkir, tadakkur, tawassum. These words are synonymous. So if you read Quran, you will find that Quran laid great emphasis on tafkir. Tafkir is very important practice in Islam. Now, what is tafkir? Tafkir means contemplation, thinking. There is a verse in the Quran in these words that Quran was revealed for one purpose, لِيَدَّبَّرُوا آيَاتِهِ, so that you may ponder over its verses. لِيَدَّبَّرُوا آيَاتِهِ, so that they may ponder over its verses. There are other verses in the Quran with the same meaning. These verses of the Quran clearly mention that the most important aspect of revelation is tafkir. So what is the importance of tafkir? The fact is that our mind has great potential. There are billion and billion and billion particles in every mind. What are these particles? They are not sand. They are particles of information. So, our mind is full of potentials. Our sole purpose is to unfold these potentials, to turn the potentials of our mind into actual. This is the sole purpose of human life. This is the sole purpose of the Quran. According to my experience, the greatest danger among people is confused thinking. Confused thinking. Because people don't spend their time in tafkir. They don't spend their time in tafkir, in thinking, in contemplation. According to my experience, the sole concern of the majority of the people, maybe more than 90%, is their own personal interest, their family, their obsessions, their bias, their pride. These are the sole concern of every human being. So they have no time to think, to understand, to unfold their mind's potential. I will give you one example. You can see the today's issue of the Times of India, the Daily Times of India. In its today's issue, that is August 9, in the middle page, the paper has published an article by a Muslim intellectual. The caption is, "Revisionists have hijacked Islam." Revisionists have hijacked Islam. Now, when you read the article, you will find that he mentions extremist people, extremist element of Muslims. He are blaming the extremist element of Muslims. So the better caption was, "Extremists have hijacked Islam," and not "Revisionists have hijacked Islam." So this writer don't know the difference between the two. He don't know the difference between extremism and revisionism. Both are quite different in meaning. Extremism and revisionism, both are two different terms. So this writer mentions extremist people in his article, but he has given the caption, "Revisionists have hijacked Islam." This creates confusion. When you talk about aeroplane and you give the name of Mercedes, a motor car, so you are using the name of Mercedes or motor car, but you are giving the detail of aeroplane. It is bound to create compulsion. This kind of talk is bound to create confusion. So this writer gives the detail of those activities in which extremist Muslims are engaged. But he refers to revisionism. Revisionism is quite another thing. It is this kind of, so when you fail to differentiate between two issues, then you will create confusion. He says that Islam allows war against injustice. It is also wrong. One ghazwa in which Prophet of Islam was engaged, Tabuk, he refers to this ghazwa. But he says Islam allows war against injustice. This ghazwa was not against injustice. It was as defensive action. So here you can see that this writer refers to defensive war and says that Islam allows war against injustice. There is difference between war against injustice and war as a defense. quite different. This kind of talk is bound to create confusion. Then he refers to philosophy of revenge. He says that all those people who are engaged in violence, they have a philosophy of revenge in their mind. It is also wrong. It is not philosophy of revenge. It is philosophy of shahada. It is philosophy of jihad. According to those people who are engaged in violence, their jihad is a positive act, but revenge is a negative act. If you ask those people who will refer the principle of jihad, it means that they are engaged in their violent activism by taking it a positive philosophy. They have in their mind a positive philosophy. They have in their mind a positive philosophy. And under this positive philosophy, they are engaged in violence. So, it is this kind of confusion that creates all kind of problem. So, Quran lays great emphasis on tafkir so that may people think in the right way. In the right way. If you are engaged in tafkir, if you are engaged in contemplation, then you can decondition your mind, then you can sort out the black from white, then you can get rid of those biases. So thinking process is to purify yourself. There is another verse in the Quran, وَلَيَتَذَكَّرَ أُولُو الْأَلْبَابِ. Why Quran emphasizes about thinking, about tafkir? وَلَيَذَكَّرَ أُولُو الْأَلْبَابِ, so that people of reason may take lessons. Ulul Albab means people of reason. It means that Islam tries to awaken the faculty of reason. Islamic thinking is based on mind rather than heart. Heart-based spirituality is not in Islam. Islam believes on mind-based spirituality, mind-based thinking. This is the basic teaching of Islam. These are the basic teachings of Islam. But in other words, you can say that art of thinking is the most important principle in Islam. Art of thinking. Tafkir and tazkir and tawassum, all these words refer to the art of thinking, or art of right thinking. You can say that the most important principle in Islam, that you must learn the art of right thinking. The art of right thinking. Right thinking means to differentiate between two positions. To differentiate between two positions. To sort out blacks from white. To know the real genesis. If you say that those Muslims who are engaged in violence in the name of jihad, they have a philosophy of revenge in their mind. Philosophy of revenge cannot activate to such an extent that people try to adopt suicide bombing. Revenge cannot make you to killing yourself. No, it is a philosophy, it's a positive philosophy. They think that if we kill ourselves, then we will go to paradise. They have coined a new word, that is istishhad. Istishhad means seeking martyrdom. Istishhad is an Arabic word. It means seeking martyrdom. But martyrdom is not self-killing. When your enemy kills you in the right, and you are right at that time, you are right at that time, you are in the way of God, you are doing thou work, then your enemy kills you, then you are martyrdom, then you are martyr. Self-killing is not martyr. So, this is very important to inculcate in you the art of right thinking. Divisionism, I have referred to the article in which there are two different words, revisionism and extremism. What is revisionism and what is extremism? Extremism is ghulu. And revisionism is to revise the Islamic teachings. No one has the right to revise the Islamic teachings. You can revise a dictionary. You can revise an encyclopedia. In the case of encyclopedia, in case of dictionary, revision means updating. But Islam is an eternal religion, so there is no revisionism. In Islam, there is revival and not revisionism. In Islam, there is revival. There is ihya or tajdeed. In Islam, there is ihya or tajdeed, that is revivalism. But there is no revisionism. There is Nasrani. So there is no Nasrani in Islam. There is no revisionism in Islam. Because Islam is an eternal religion. How you can revise a word of God? And extremism means ghulu. Ghulu means you are engaged in Islamic teaching. You are engaged in an Islamic teaching, but you are doing it with extremism. So it is very important to learn the art of right thinking. And tafkir means right thinking. Tafkir or tazkir or tawassum, all these words have the same connotation, that is right thinking. For example, when the Prophet of Islam was in Mecca, there were atrocities, there was zulm. So if you say that this situation allows us to go to jihad, to Qatal, that is wrong. Because In Mecca, Islam was in its Dawa period. When Prophet Islam was in Mecca, he was in his Dawa period. Dawa period means to convey the message of God. So at that time, he was in Dawa period. And during Dawa period, there is no jihad. وَلَنَصْبِرَنَّ عَلَىٰ مَا آذَيْتُمُونَا. During Dawa period, there is no jihad, no qital, no war, no fighting. Why? Because during Dawa period, it requires normalcy between Da'i and Madhu. At the time of Dawa, it requires normalcy, normal relationship, friendly relations between Da'i and Madhu. So you have to be patient, you have to keep patience. وَلْنَصْبِرَنَّ عَلَىٰ مَا آذَيْتُمُونَا. We will keep patience, we will keep patience. This verse was revealed in Mecca. This verse and also the other verses with the same meaning were revealed in Mecca when Prophet of Islam was doing Dawah work. So at that time he was told by God, you have to keep patience. Patience means maintaining normalcy. For what patience? The purpose of patience is to maintain the normal relationship between Da'i and Madhu. Because without normalcy, without normal relationship, no Dawah work is possible. So at that time, when the Prophet of Islam was in Mecca and he was doing Dawah work, so it was a Dawah period. So at that time, Quran, at that time God revealed these verses, the verses of sabr, verses of patience, that, O Muslims, you have to keep patience until Dawah work ends to its completion. Until Dawah work ends to its completion, that is Itmam Hujjat. In Dawah work, Itmam Hujjat, in Dawah work what is required is Itmam Hujjat. Itmam Hujjat means to complete the Dawah process. Until you complete the process, until the process of Dawah is completed, you have to keep patience. So it requires thinking, it requires contemplation, it requires tafkir to know that when I am in Dawah process, I cannot do jihad. Again, I will try to say that if there is injustice, you cannot do jihad. Injustice does not allow you to wage a war. No. You have to know that if you are facing injustice, you have to do against that injustice peacefully. Injustice allows you to go to peaceful work. You are not allowed to go to sword. Not at all. So you have to know the difference between injustice and an attack. If there is attack, then you are allowed to go to defensive war. But if there is injustice, you are not allowed to go to war. You are allowed only to go to peaceful activism, peaceful struggle. So you must know the difference between injustice and attack. Otherwise, you will fail to follow the commandment of God. Yesterday, I happened to meet a Muslim scholar. I referred, the talk was on peaceful activism. Peaceful activism. So I referred to a saying of Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ, when Jesus Christ came in Palestine, so at that time Romans were ruling the Palestine. Romans were ruling that area. So Prophet Isa or Jesus Christ was to work in such a situation when the rulers are Romans. So I said that Jesus Christ said to his disciples, Jesus Christ gave a policy to his disciples. That policy was, in his words, give to Caesar what is due to Caesar. Give to Caesar what is due to Caesar, and give to God what is due to God. This was the policy given by Jesus Christ to his disciples. Give to Caesar what is due to Caesar, and give to God what is due to God. So that Muslim scholar said, it was said by Jesus Christ, but we are followers of Muhammad. Why you are referring Jesus Christ? We have to follow Prophet Muhammad. I said, yes. Prophet Muhammad has said this, Prophet Muhammad has given the same policy to us. Same policy. In Sahih al-Bukhari, there is a very authentic book in Islam. There is a hadith. In this hadith, the Prophet of Islam says, Addu ilayhim haqqahum wa salullah haqqakum. Addu ilayhim haqqahum wa salullah haqqakum. It means that fulfill the right of rulers and ask your rights from God. Here you can see that Prophet Muhammad gave the same instruction to his followers, which was given by Jesus Christ to his disciples. There is no difference at all. Then he became speechless, but he never confessed that we were wrong in the past. So this is due to lack of tafkir. Lack of tafkir. Lack of tafkir means lack of analysis. Lack of tafkir means lack of analysis. Lack of knowing the difference between the two. Lack of going to the deeper mind. Lack of tafkir means failure to read what is in between the line. There is a hadith about the Quran. There is a hadith about the Quran. لِكُلِّ آيَةٍ مِّنْهَا زَهْرٌ وَبَطْرٌ. It means that every verse of the Quran has has two meanings. One is its obvious meanings, and the second is its what lies in between the lines. So you have to learn what is in line and what is in between the lines. So what is in the line, you can know it simply by reading, by tilawat. What is in the line, you can understand it simply by tilawat or reading. But what is in between the line, you can understand it only through tafkir. To read what is in between the lines, to know what is in between the lines requires tafkir, tadabbur. Without tafkir and tadabbur, you can't understand the deeper meaning of the Quran. So tafkir is very important. Tafkir is very, very important. As I referred earlier, the Quranic verse, وَلَا يَتَذَكَّرُ أُولُو الْأَلْبَابِ. Ponder over the verses so that you may understand the deeper meaning of the Quran, deeper meaning of the Quranic verses. Once the wife of the Prophet, Aisha, was told that Mr. So and so reads Quran in such a way that he completes the whole Quran in 3 days. He completes the whole Quran in 3 days. There are so many people who do like this. He said, "Ulaika qara'u walam yaqra'u." Ulaika qara'u walam yaqra'u. They read the Quran, but they failed to read. They read the Quran, but they failed to read. It means that they failed to reach to the deeper meaning of the Quran. So, about one Sahabi, one companion of the Prophet, there is a hadith that he started to read the chapter Al-Baqarah of the Quran. He started to read the chapter Al-Baqarah of the Quran, and he spent 3 years to complete this chapter Al-Baqarah. Why 3 years? You can read this Quranic chapter in 1 hour or 2 hours or 3 hours, according to your speed of reading. But this Sahabi, the companion of the Prophet of Islam, spent 3 years in reading of that chapter. Why? Because he was reading with tafkir. He was reading with tazkir. He was reading with tabassum. He was reading with tadabbur. He was reading the Quranic chapter with tadabbur, with contemplation, with deep contemplation, deep. So, in Islam, tafkir and tadabbur are very important teachings. Tafkir and tadabbur means knowing the art of right thinking. This is very, very important. Why? Because every human being is a jungle of thought. Analysis is the most important Simply information is nothing. If your mind has many information, there is nothing. You have to know the analysis. You have the power of analysis. Without analysis, you cannot understand the Quran. You cannot use all those informations. Without the power of analysis, you cannot use those informations you receive every day from outside. So it requires tafkir, tadabbur, to use these informations in a correct manner. It is a fact that the mind of every human being is full of thoughts, of informations. So it is like jungle. Without analysis, there is no use of these jungles. So you have to train yourself, you have to educate yourself in right thinking. Right thinking is must for Iman. Right thinking is must for increase in Iman. There was a Sahabi, that is companion of the Prophet of Islam. His name was Abu Darda Ansari. So after his death, one Muslim came to his wife and he came to his house. After the death of Abu Darda, one Muslim visited the house of Abu Darda. He asked his wife, his name was Darda. So he asked, what was the most important worship of Abu Darda? What was the most important worship of Abu Darda? His wife said, at that time he was widow, his wife Darda said, At-tafakkur wal-i'tibar. At-tafakkur wal-i'tibar. It means thinking. So every time Abu Darda was in thinking, in contemplation, in pondering over the universe. This was the greatest worship of Abu Darda. He was a senior Sahabi of the Prophet of Islam. So his wife said, At-tafakkur. That is thinking. Why? Thinking itself is nothing. It was not thinking for the sake of thinking. No. It was not thinking for the sake of thinking. It was thinking for some purpose, some positive purpose. And what was that purpose? That purpose was at-tabassum, al-i'tibar, that is, to take lessons, to increase his faith. His tafakkur or tafkir or his contemplation was for a noble purpose. And that purpose was to explain the universal signs, to increase his Iman, to increase his faith, to know the deeper meaning of Islam, to know the secrets of death, to increase his conviction in hell and paradise, to increase his conviction in God. This was the purpose of his contemplation, purpose of his tafkir. So, at-tafkir is very, very important in Islam. If you read the 3rd chapter of the Quran, that is Al-Imran. Al-Imran. You will find in the final ruku these wordings, this verse. إِنَّ فِي خَلْقِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَاخْتِلَافِ اللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ لَآيَاتٍ لِأُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ الَّذِينَ يَذْكُرُونَ اللَّهَ قِيَامًا وَقُعُودًا وَعَلَى جُنُوبِهِمْ وَيَتَفَكَّرُونَ فِي خَلْقِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. This verse you can find in the 3rd chapter of the Quran in its concluding paragraph, concluding ruku. Ruku in Quran means paragraph. So in this paragraph, that true believer is one who spends his time in tafkir. Tafkir, that is thinking, contemplation. About what? Thinking about the world around us, about sun and moon and stars and planets and trees and oceans. So it is very important. You know, thinking is a very unique power given to man. This verse is very vast universe. There are numerous stars, numerous planets. There are great solar system. There are mountains, oceans, trees and birds and animals. There are more than billion and trillion things in this world. But except human being, no one has the power of thinking. Power of thinking is very special blessing to mankind. So why man was given this unique capacity? So why man was given this unique capacity? To develop his personality, to develop his mind, so that he may be a deserving candidate for paradise. This is the reason of this blessing. Now, who will go to paradise? What is the special feature of those who will be allowed to go to paradise? It is developed personality. Only those persons will go to paradise who have developed their personality. And what is the way to develop their personality? It is at-tafkir, at-tawassum, at-tadakkur. That is contemplation, thinking. So thinking is the only course which makes you able to be a deserving candidate of paradise. There is no way other than this. Man in this world is like an ore, O-R-E, ore. Ore. And it is required to make himself steel. You are born as an ore, and now you are required to make yourself steel. So how it is possible? It is possible through tafkir. It is tafkir by which you can know that at present you are ore. It is tafkir by which you can understand that if you utilize your ore, you become steel, you become an engine, you become a machine. So we are here simply as an ore. And it is upon we that it is upon we to develop our personality, to make us steel, to make us engine, to make us machine. So it is very, very serious to know that only developed personality can find entry into paradise. Without personality development, without intellectual development, without spiritual development, no person will go to paradise. So thinking is very important in terms of paradise and in terms of success in this world. From both the aspects. If you want success, if you want to achieve big success, if you want to become a super achiever, you have to develop your tafkir. And also, if you want to be settled in paradise, you want to have a place in paradise, again you have to develop your mind through tafkir. Tafkir means thinking, contemplation. So it is not simply a philosophy, it is a fact. It is the science of religion. It is the science of Islam. So every man and every woman must know that it is imperative to all individuals, to all men and to all women, to inculcate the power of tafkir in your personality. Tafkir gives you the power of analysis. Tafkir gives you the all those things that are required, all those good things. Tafkir gives you all those good things that are required by God. So it is very important to know that tafkir is very important teaching of Islam. Tafkir means tafkir is to prepare your mind. Tafkir means to prepare your mind. Tafkir means to know the art of right thinking. Tafkir means right analysis. So all these things are outcome of tafkir. So you have to know that simply rituals are not enough. If you are observing some rituals of Islam, that is not enough. No. You have to adopt the way of tafkir. Without tafkir, there is no increase in your faith. Without tafkir, you cannot develop your personality. Without tafkir, you cannot find a place in paradise. Without tafkir, you cannot realize God. Without tafkir, you cannot discover God. All those positive qualities required in Islam are directly related to tafkir. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم أجمعين.